Okay. Here we go. All right, folks, here we go. Good afternoon, everyone, on this Friday. Yes. There I am. Yes, there we are on X. Okay. Everyone on this Friday. I think the sound sounds fine. Yes. And it does. Yes. Now, we're also live on YouTube. Sound should be fine there. Always like to double check. YouTube's experiencing great growth. About to hit 67,000 followers. That's not what I'm looking for. Skip. Yes, there it is. There I am. Okay. There's Debbie. Yes. Skip. Yes, there it is. I don't know. I don't know, okay. Midwest guy. There's Debbie. Yes. Skip. Yes, there it is. I don't know. I don't know. Yes. Subscriber only mode. That's exactly right. That's what we're in. You know, I need to incorporate that on Facebook as well, as I think of it. Now, speaking of, now tonight we're riding with Westerly Police. That will start 7-ish. If we're a little bit delayed, chill out. We'll be there. Sometimes people freak. Let's not. Do not freak. If for whatever reason, if we're delayed for a couple minutes. You know, that's the plan. It can also then be 7:05, 7:10. Some of these people start losing their minds. Where is he? Where are you? What's happening? When does this start? Everybody needs to chill out a little bit. Tell me about it. Yes. That's the thing. They've changed it to just 3. Okay. And we're going to begin in 2 minutes. We're 2 minutes out. Yes, it's exciting. It is. It's very exciting, as a matter of fact. We shall commence. Some good video at 2 o'clock. Well, after, you know what I mean, after the program. Some definitely some action on Branch Avenue. We managed to get this earlier. All right. After 2 o'clock. After 2 o'clock. Okay. And we shall begin. Roger says, I think we're all set. Ready to go, says Roger. All right. Now, I did get a message. Someone said, I think there's something going on in Oakland Beach. Not going on anymore. Well, there you have it. That's why we always verify. Yep. In the past, I used to drop everything, go booking over there. We don't do that anymore. We've learned. Sometimes the hard way we've learned a little bit. All right, we're going to start in just a moment with the breaking news. We do have breaking news out of the West Coast and then also locally. I think that's unusual. The Chamber of Commerce silent on this. You'd think they would speak out. I don't understand it, but I'll try to explain it. Okay, and we're going to begin at 1:06. Yep, 1:06 on this Friday, July 18th. Folks, good afternoon. Right now, as we speak, We are live on AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. We're also live on our YouTube channel that continues to grow. We're also live on X. I want to say thank you to Debbie, who's a great moderator. You know what? As a matter of fact, and it's my fault. I should always double check. I want to thank. It was Ronnie, who sent like a super chat on YouTube. Folks, I always want to mention that, and very grateful for all the support that we get. Bring you a lot of original content. Right now, we're live on YouTube, we're live on X, we're live on Facebook, and then AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. This portion of our program is brought to you by PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Now, remember, they are a full-scale nursery. It's PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. Full-scale nursery, and right now they have delicious homegrown corn, fresh vegetables, peaches, all waiting for you at PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. On top of that, annuals, perennials, trees and shrubs, hanging pots, 10-inch, 12-inch moss baskets, hanging impatiens, pansy marigold bags. Plus, they're open 7 days a week. Gift certificates are available, and they have very unique original gifts. For instance, you know what makes a great gift that someone cannot buy at the store? An original birdhouse. And what I mean by that is custom, where each birdhouse is made by a local artist, and they're all different, handcrafted. That is fantastic. And that's not something that somebody could just go and purchase in a store. They're one of a kind. Where do they have this? PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Remember, stop in and see them. Look for them on Facebook, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. And I would recommend to people, hey, you want to see, do some planting. That always sets like up a nice barrier. PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Now, a lot of people are talking about DePietro.com. I understand why. That's links to all of our social media, whether it's Facebook, X, TikTok, YouTube. Remember, we have certain videos that I post on different platforms that I don't post on all the same platforms. And there's reasons for it, because some platforms are more tolerant. For example, some platforms don't like fight videos. Some platforms don't like some of the police body cam videos. They think they're too violent. Others don't mind it. But what we have in common is you don't have to search everywhere. If you just log on to DePietro.com, you'll find it. DePietro.com, brought to you by the Coesit Inn, 226 Coesit Avenue, West Warwick. Remember, lunch, dinner, drinks in the lounge. They're waiting for you at the Coesit Inn. And I did get an email from Susan asking me, who is the propane company that I recommend? It's Propane Plus Heating and Cooling. Call them today, 401-885-4209, or in Massachusetts, 508-252-3359. Propane Plus, always online at propaneplus.com. Residential or commercial, you can depend on Propane Plus. Again, call them 401-885-4209. Now, first, I want to get to, and again, thank you to Debbie, she does a fantastic job. I should check that, and I will check that more often. But I want to touch on, now there is breaking news that is literally happening as we speak, but it has to do, and I think, developments are still coming out here. Breaking news, an explosion in a Los Angeles County Sheriff's training facility. So I know they're monitoring this. Federal partners are on the ground trying to support the ongoing response. So, explosion in an LA County Sheriff's training facility. I want to we'll watch this during the course of the hour. And because of, so 3 people are deceased in explosion in LA Sheriff Department training facility in East Los Angeles. 3 sheriff deputies who were killed about an hour ago in the explosion. So, but I don't see any other details of how that happened. The same site faced safety concerns before. So, lost their lives, an explosion at a training facility, East LA. They were apparently transporting something on a cart that exploded. All right, so we will monitor that and follow that. But that's very, very concerning, which also brings us to our local story. Now, immigration, by the way, as someone that's out literally almost every night, most of the time every night, but sometimes you just get overwhelmed with other things. So, but for those of you that watch Road Patrol, and tonight, by the way, should be interesting. We're going to ride with Westerly Police. This could be a busy weekend. You also have the feast, St. Mary's Feast in Cranston. Cranston Police, I know, will be ready to go. Last Sunday, there was that arrest in the Silver Lake section of ICE making an arrest. And so that got tension high. And so, for those of you that watch Road Patrol Live, and we were out last night, and let's see how tonight goes. Tonight could end up being something, that takes up quite a bit of time with Westerly. If not, we monitor. But I meant to mention this for those of you that watched. Now, last night we were, the task force was out, and it was off Manton Avenue on Salmon Street, and that is a public housing project. But notice for those of you, and I know I'm going to see Eric from the Road Patrol Command Center, but something that I've noticed, and for those of you that listen and watch, there's definitely been a decrease in Spanish-speaking officer needed at the scene. So as someone that really, I cover crime literally 7 days a week. No, I'm telling you, there has been a change because of, make no mistake about it, there's still brazen crime out there. But all of these policies, no one's going to tell me, as someone that's out there, that I'm telling you, I think that you have a situation where just as a deterrent, that there's still a lot of illegals in our area. Of course there are. But by all accounts, they're not going out as much as they used to. They're not getting being called in with the police as much as they used to. As we do it, I'm telling you, it used to be several times a week when we would be out in Providence, and a report would come over the radio. They need a Spanish-speaking officer at the scene. Now, you could argue that Providence has increased the number of Spanish-speaking officers. Cranston, last week we rode with a member of the Cranston Police Department who's there. A lot of times a police force maybe has one or two, but some of the other, Central Falls has maybe more than some of the others do. Pawtucket might have more. Providence definitely has more. We were at a scene, if you remember, in Cranston. Remember, there were 8 people in the house. None of them spoke English. They had to wait for a Spanish-speaking officer from Providence to come to the scene. But there's definitely been a decrease in the need for Spanish-speaking officers, which brings us to where we are today. And I believe this is a pivotal issue. And this is a pivotal time right now in the business community and for the people on whether or not people are going to speak up or people are going to remain silent. And I'm going to tell you what it is. But folks, this portion of our program, now remember, if you need a new roof, maybe you've had wind damage. If you were to get a new roof, and remember, many times, if your roof has wind damage, pretty much it's covered and you're insured, so you get a new roof. But a new roof increases the value of the structure of your home or business. Roof Co. Rhode Island, they'd be happy to give you a free estimate. Call them 401-868-7149. 401-868-7149. Roof Co. Rhode Island. Leaky roof, wind damage, missing lifted or curled shingles, granules in the gutter, maybe even damaged chimney flashing. Free estimate, Roof Co. Rhode Island, 401-868-7149. 7149, 401 868 7149 for Roofco, Rhode Island. So now I didn't go to it because I had a meeting with law enforcement this morning, but I did post on this, and I think this is dangerous. So there was a press conference this morning, and it's a business in Broad Street, and you have a number of businesses, local businesses, and what they're doing is they're announcing that they're going to be a defense zone. So the way now, here's what's frightening is the Chamber of Commerce being silent about this is atrocious. But local business owners have announced for the immigrant community, immigrant defense zones. And what they're saying is they have signs up on their business. We defend immigrants here. This business is a defense zone. We will protect and support those targeted by ICE and other enforcement actions. They also post, if you see ICE, call, and then they have the phone number. But what should not be lost here is these local businesses that are calling themselves immigrant defense zones. Where is the Providence Chamber of Commerce on this? Why are they being silent? Now, where they had the press conference is Crown Fried Chicken on Broad Street. Now, first of all, again, so they had the press conference and they're going to have these signs up. And when we're out, we'll look for these signs, right? What does that even mean? So if you're illegal, you run in there and that business, they're not going to comply with ICE, right? That's essentially how they're framing the whole thing. So this business is a defense zone. Folks, they're going to start to pressure businesses around the city and other cities. They're going to start to pressure them to put up these signs. This is anti-law enforcement. Now, does this mean, what if someone is not an illegal, but they've committed a crime? What if someone's wanted for shoplifting? What if someone's wanted for some kind of larceny or an assault or a stabbing of some kind? So now you what, run in here and then pretend, oh, I'm an illegal, you got to protect me, and they're not going to cooperate with law enforcement? Now, first of all, this business, which is on Broad Street on the south side, that's not a big area where all the illegals are, okay? What makes me different than the rest of the media is I can tell you where they are because I'm on the south side every night. And the south side has a lot of public housing. The south side has poor people. The south side, Broad Street, South Providence, they have crime. That's not where they are. The illegals, they're in houses. They're in triple deckers. They're in Oneyville. They're in Silver Lake. They're in the area we were last night. Now, they're not in Salmon Street so much. Because again, that's a housing project. And most of the time, the people that live Chad Brown, off Manton, Salmon, Hartford Avenue, these are families that, they've lived there for a long time. Say what you want, but they are, I mean, by and large, most of them, if not all, they're all American citizens for the most part. So for a business on the south side, I'm going to be curious to see if this is going to spread to other sides. So where are the illegals? Well, they're definitely in the West End, right? Remember the guy that he lived, it's just certain streets that I mentioned. Chapin, what's that, Waldo? Waldo has them. Waverly, definitely. But the bulk of them, they're in Silver Lake, definitely Oneyville, around, not so much Salmon, that housing project, but in and around that Manton area, right on Atwell's. When you come to the intersection, what's frightening is how much I know about this as I realize it. But when you come to the intersection of Atwell's and Manton, if you then, take the right on Atwell's, the name of the restaurant is the Guatemalan Restaurant. Who do you think is working there and eating there and everything else? And I get it. Because a lot of people, will tell you, most of the people, they're hardworking. They don't bother anybody. They don't bother anybody. They just want to work hard. A lot of the illegals that are in Rhode Island that cause a lot of the problems, they're actually from the DR. A lot of them are from there's a huge Dominican population in mostly in Providence. Also, then they spread out, Pawtucket, Central Falls. If anyone questions, I should say, if anyone wonders, is probably a better word. If there's anyone that wonders if there's a large Dominican population, wait till next month when they have the Dominican Festival on that Sunday and what it's like on Broad Street and then in and around, the park and so forth. There's a huge Dominican population. They're actually the ones that cause a lot of the problems. Folks, this portion of our program, but they're not, my point is, they're not on the South Side. Like when you see me in a lot of those sections, like last night, when we're in South Providence, those people, there's a lot of crime. Definitely, poor, but that's not most of the illegals. They're more Silver Lake, Oneyville. Those are the real, off of Manton, up around, off Chalkstone Avenue, Mount Pleasant area, that area, that's, that's huge. Some of them, they have yards. They raise, chickens. Not that there's anything wrong with it. But when we had the shooting at the playground last summer, it's in Silver Lake. When you come into the lake, right on Union Avenue, when you take a right, you go all the way to the back. Remember those kids, they had the car shot up. And then there's a playground back there, and those kids hang out late at night, 12:30, 1 o'clock. The people that are coming out to me, Mr. Juan, these kids, they keep us up late. I got to get up at 4:30 in the morning. A lot of them, a lot of the individuals, those are, they're probably most likely illegal, but they work. They have to get up at 4:30 in the morning. They work all day. Many times when we're in, as I think of it, Silver Lake, Oneyville, how about we go home early evening? We see, they have uniforms on. A lot of the illegals, they're just getting out of work. They've been working all day. So, this business on the South Side, we're going to be a defense zone. That's not really where they are. Where Sanchez, Morales, right? That's Oneyville. It's really, where ICE was, Silver Lake, Oneyville. Those are the, to me, that's really like ground zero. There's a lot of illegals there. Not so much. There's pockets. Hey, there's some that live on Cranston Street. In Cranston, by the way, over the line. There's sometimes pockets, but when I'm talking about, there are some streets. I do this sometimes during the day where, I meet with different people and someone has information for me. If you're on Valley Street and you go up towards Chalkstone, between Valley and Chalkstone, I am telling you, you have the entire street is non-English speaking, and they sell goods out in front. And it is one house after another, triple deckers, the whole thing. It's not one or two. It's as far as you can see, the entire neighborhood are all new arrivals, as we like to say. But my point is, they're not on Broad Street. Like, that's a publicity stunt. I'll go by that place. Maybe tonight. We'll see. Folks, this portion of our program, I won't tell them in advance. I'll tell you that much. Is brought to you by ServPro. Remember, if you ever have an emergency, hey, disaster strikes, what are you going to do? Don't call me. Call ServPro. ServPro Providence, 401-941-5500. Now, when you have, it can be anything, right? Fire, flood, mold, ServPro of Providence. They're fast, they're thorough, they're professional. If you're a business owner, maybe recently you had a fire, maybe recently some pipe gave way, you have water damage, ServPro of Providence, 401-941-5500. Well, folks, good afternoon. So what does that say that these businesses, what does that even mean? So if you're an illegal and you're being chased by ICE, you're supposed to go into this chicken place. And what, they're going to fight off the ICE officers? It's so ludicrous. But where's the Chamber of Commerce? And is it because, as you know, someone posted a comment, is this because they're hiring, they have illegals working there? So they don't want, immigration officials coming in. I'm telling you, from what I understand, that Enrique Sanchez, Representative Sanchez, and Morales, but especially Sanchez with the Nazi Gestapo thugs and blah, blah, blah. Folks, I am telling ICE has put a big concentration on Massachusetts, Boston. How about East Boston? I think it's 85% are all new arrivals, as I like to say. I'm telling you, they're going to start to put more of an emphasis here in Rhode Island. The local press, what they ignored is it was last Sunday, that guy, right? He was released. He is an MS-13 Honduras gang member who traffics fentanyl. Why do they want him free? He shouldn't even be here in the first place, but he's wanted for murder in Honduras. So what does he do? He flees the United States, and where does he settle? I need a place that I can hide where no one's going to come after me. And what does he settle on? He settles on Providence, Rhode Island. Here we go. And specifically, Silver Lake. So now he was released from court. He shouldn't have been released. Why was he released? Because of, as I've told you, Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee refuses to take executive action and reverse what Chafee did. So as a result of that, now he's loose in the neighborhood. I was speaking with someone yesterday who's very familiar with ICE, and I think probably ultimately was going to be working with ICE. But he was telling me this is someone who has phenomenal experience with apprehending very dangerous individuals, right? Fugitive task work type of stuff. And they don't like to take them in the house. They don't like to, that's a lot. They would prefer not to do that because, number one, they can hide in the house. Number two, you don't know who else is in the house. Number three, they could be hiding weapons in the house. It can be very dangerous taking someone in the house. They prefer to grab someone when they're going from the house to maybe their car. So now this individual, they don't want to have to get him in a neighborhood. This MS-13 gang member who, has been found guilty of trafficking fentanyl. Why is he loose? The safest thing would have been they have him at the courthouse, right? ICE comes in and they get him at the courthouse. But that's not what happens because in McKees, Rhode Island, boom, he's released into the neighborhoods. Now they have to go and get him in the neighborhood. How does that make sense? So then he's fleeing from them. That's when he crashed his car. He could have hit a child. He could have killed someone. Could have been a dangerous head-on. He's driving like a maniac. Do you understand? He's not even supposed to be here in the first place. Yet Representative Enrique Sanchez de Morales, they say one of our neighbors named Ivan, that's how they described him. They failed to mention he's actually from Honduras, non-English speaking, and he's an MS-13 gang member. And he's wanted for crimes in Honduras. Why do you think he fled Honduras? And where does he come? Here. Does he go to Florida? No. Does he go to Texas? No. Does he go to Tennessee, Georgia? No. Where does he go? Where can I hide out? I need sanctuary. I need a place that I can hide out. You want to go to Providence, Rhode Island. So he comes and joins some members of the gang here. Now, also, as someone was telling me last night, if you were watching Road Patrol last night, and again, we'll be riding tonight after 7 with the Westerly Police, I received a phone call, and as I often do when we're out, and it was one of my sources saying that the other members of MS-13 that are still in Rhode Island, but they're in hiding right now. So is Enrique Sanchez, Rep Sanchez, is he helping to hide them? Why isn't there an investigation at the state house? If you have a state rep, if you have Morales and Sanchez and also his brothers on city council, you tell me, if they're hiding fugitives, how is that not against the law? Why aren't they being investigated for that? Right? This source, Julio, who is really, really good source, said that basically members of MS-13 who are still in the area, but they're in hiding right now because Ivan got picked up, right? Ivan didn't bring the police back to where they are. He just went into this apartment where he knew someone there, but that's not where they were. So they're still out there, and now they're hiding. Why is Enrique Sanchez? Why is an elected rep from Providence? Not only is he hiding fugitives, now you have businesses that are opening saying, we'll hide you. Folks, how is that not law breaking? And I want to be very clear. This is not Germany in the early 1940s. This is not, someone's hiding some Jewish neighbors. You're hiding dangerous fugitives. Number one, they're not supposed to be in the country. Number two, they're wanted by a law enforcement agency. And no one speaks out. Why is the Providence Chamber of Commerce silent on this? You would think at the release, Lori White could cobble together a press release. Oh, wait a minute. My bad. I forgot. It's July. They don't do anything September through May, let alone June, July, and August. This portion of our program brought to you by Quality Asphalt Seal Coating. Call Corey. It'd be great for your garage is they'll epoxy your garage. They can epoxy garages, patios, makes a huge difference. Decorative concrete flooring. They also do sport court resurfacing, pickleball, tennis, basketball. They can make your pavement look like new. And on top of that, they do great work, line striping a parking lot. Call Corey, free estimate. Just mentioned the show, Quality Asphalt Seal Coating, 401-283-9815. If you see the difference of an epoxy garage, oh my God, what a difference it makes. And on top of that, people tend to now, it's like, all right, now I got something here. Now I want to keep it nice. Now this is really workable. That's what's missing. Get your garage epoxied or patio or decorative concrete flooring. 401-283-9815 for quality. It's asphalt and it's seal coating. Well, folks, good afternoon again. Immigration, I don't see a lot of talk. I think the young Republicans of the state, they're calling for Enrique Sanchez to be censured, excuse me. That should be louder, right? He's calling ICE officials Nazi Gestapo thugs and comparing to ICE. Keep in mind, again, an MS-13 gang member wanted for distributing fentanyl, killing hundreds of thousands of people. And Governor McKee, let him go, released him. Folks, it's so, I admit, like many of you, I'll tell you what it does. It just gets tiring after a while. And Governor McKee, I hate to be a broken record, he's still running unopposed. Why is he running unopposed? I don't understand exactly what's happening here. And I don't understand why. Let me just see this. I don't understand why more people are not speaking out. And by more people, I mean more of the elected officials. Because just listen, general people can only speak up so much. But when you have businesses starting to step forward, and businesses basically saying that they're going to defy the law and they're going to work against law enforcement, I think that crosses over. And now I don't know if the mayor's office has answered anything. I don't know if any of the council people have said anything. I have no idea where Governor McKee is. Governor McKee is still thinking he's going to get a WNBA team to come here. I'll tell you why. Hey, listen, I think it'd be great. At this point, I'll watch a WNBA game before I sit down and watch an NBA game. The NBA game, the NBA professional basketball game has been destroyed by the three-pointer. Everything is a three-pointer. Who wants to watch that? It's all these 7-foot guys firing threes. And again, I get it that they can hit them, but I tried watching the NBA. I mean, I've always been a basketball fan, but that's the game today is not the game that I was attracted to. The WNBA, obviously because of Caitlin Clark, but it has a better flow. It just seems like better basketball to watch. But what you have to understand of, Governor McKee showing them, doing a tour of the AMP downtown, as I was saying to Dan McGowan of the Boston Globe, if you're the WNBA, the real money comes in with you get a TV deal. And then you get a TV deal. What do you then need? You need LA, you need New York, you need Chicago, you need San Francisco, you need Detroit, you need Philadelphia, you need Boston, Dallas, Atlanta. Those are all the top TV markets. Which area did you not hear me mention? Well, Boston's in there. So in order to get like real money and turn this into WNBA real money, look how important it was to the NFL to finally get not just one, but two teams in LA. Look how New York has both. If you're trying to really get this WNBA to the next level, you want to lock up. They're presenting to some sponsors. If they say we have a team in LA, we have a team in New York, we have a team in Chicago, we have a team in Philadelphia, we have a team in Detroit. Detroit's a big TV market. San Francisco, Dallas, Atlanta, Philadelphia. Those are Miami. Those are the big TV markets. Now you're getting somewhere. Now, the people behind this, and television calls all the shots. It's all about television revenue. You have a team there, then you're more inclined. How many people, what kind of money? It's not how many people would attend, really. The real money is going to be how many people you could get to watch through the TV rights. So I know that's a little bit inside, but what I'm saying is the real money would be Boston has a team. And listen, when you're talking about, a female governor, Governor Healy, female governor, mayor of Boston, Mayor Wu, they sell out the Garden, and then Jaylen Brown of the Celtics comes. I noticed for whatever reason, Rhode Island could not get a game. It's too bad. Rhode Island really should have lobbied. Maybe they did, and they fell short. I don't know. So maybe they tried it. Maybe they said, is there a way we could get a game to demonstrate what we could do? It would be great. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just not convinced it's going to happen. And a big part of that, I believe, it's things that they can't control, such as that's why so many television shows, not to go on and on, but not so many TV shows. Where do they film? They take place in New York and LA, because if you can get those audience, you're off to a good start. So those are big, those are big markets. I get that in football. There's the Green Bay Packers. You wouldn't do that today. You wouldn't start in a small place like that. Folks, this portion of our program brought to you by Watson Materials. Remember Watson, 1500 South County Trail, East Greenwich. Call them 401-885-0600. Watson Materials. Call up, request a quote from Sean at Watson Materials, 401-885-0600. The most complete selection of landscape materials in Rhode Island is Watson Materials. Landscape lighting, pavers, retaining walls, natural stone, cobblestone, decorative stone, Watson Materials. Call Sean 401 885 0600 for Watson Materials. Folks, I also want to remind you, let's see, Kevin asked me, who is it that I recommend he needs or wants to have his kitchen redone? Kevin, you want Arch Design Builders. Give them a call. New kitchen, folks, new bathroom. Maybe you're thinking of getting your basement redone. How about a deck? Deck makes all the difference in the world. Or a special project. Maybe you want to open up, your house a little bit, open floor plan, or maybe you want to close things off a little bit, have an in-law apartment. Arch Design Builders. Call them 401 207 4124. 401 207 4124. Arch Design Builders. You're going to deal with the dream team. Ed and Roxanne. We're talking family owned and operated, high-end, custom build customer service. Call right now. Set up that meeting with my friends, the husband and wife duo of Ed and Roxanne. 401 218 9707. 401 218 9707 for Arch Design Builders. If you're going to have something done, this is who you want to do the gig. Arch Design Builders. Now, let's see. Peter sent me an email. Peter was watching yesterday. Peter believes his son is in trouble and could use some legal advice. Who is the woman I had on yesterday? Peter, you want to call Stephanie Murphy at Marin, Barrett, and Murphy at 401-228-8271. Instead of guessing or maybe hoping the situation's not going to go away, you and your son, you could call with them, ask for Stephanie, say you're a friend of the show, and you could use some legal advice. I don't know what's involved. I don't need to know what's involved. He said, I'll give you more details if you need that. I don't need to know. Well, let's operate this on a need to know. I don't need to know. 401-228-8271, Peter. And that's for anyone. Maybe your son's in trouble. Maybe he's not in trouble. But why not call and find out, right? It's like there's something, something's wrong with my foot. Well, call the doctor. My son is in trouble. Call Marin, Barrett, and Murphy. Call Stephanie. 401, she was great. 401-228-8271. So, folks, again, and I'll also, someone did send me an email. What do I think of the Jeffrey Epstein thing? I don't know what to make of it. I don't understand the whole thing. I don't understand why it's complicated. I don't understand why there are files. I don't understand why there's all this grand jury testimony. I don't get it. I don't get what's so complicated about it and why it's reached the level that it's at. Whatever was done, whoever's involved should face the consequences of that. I don't fully get how it got to the level. Now, granted, I do think a lot of that, in fairness, I did and do regard a lot of the Jeffrey Epstein talk seems to be conspiracy oriented. And for those of you that follow, I'm kind of the anti-conspiracy. I find that stuff is very damaging and very dangerous. And it just becomes a maze and people go down rabbit holes. I'm very anti-conspiracy. So, I'm aware of what the allegations were. Obviously, I remember when he was found in his cell, but I don't know what to make other than it's an awful lot of oxygen on a story. I don't know what. There's some people that are very, very vested in it. There are some people, a friend of mine was saying, look at, this one, and this one. I did not realize that the past, since he died, that there were people that there's some, well, I'm not going to get into, but one guy, he does a weekly show on it. I didn't think there was that much to talk about. I didn't think there was that much of an audience, but so much of it is unproven. So much of it just seems to be like rabbit hole stuff. Like it's just conspiracy stuff. The stuff about the conspiracy stuff is it's not based in reality. It's not based in facts. It's anything goes. That's not my thing. Some people apparently totally into it, but I just like of all the things that people could be focusing on. Listen, if there's something there, if people feel no, you got to understand there's people that are getting away with this. There are people that need to be held accountable. Then by all means, but this business also I want to mention of I don't watch late night. CBS's Colbert. Greg Gutfeld, his don't tell me he does better. The Greg Gutfeld show on Fox does considerably better than Colbert. I just find I liked Letterman. I did like Letterman. I mean, going way back, I used to, be out at night and then come home and watch, you'd watch Carson and then you'd watch Letterman. I remember, when you're young enough, we'd race to one of my friends' homes and it'd be the end of Letterman. Like we missed it because we stayed out too late. But I don't watch Fallon. I don't watch Kimmel. I don't watch that. Only so much of it is politics and it's so smug. And Colbert, I think they just made the decision. Why are we doing this? Greg Gutfeld of Fox gets much higher ratings. And granted, he's on at 10, but what are we talking about? Why do we pay this guy all this money and they're losing money on the show? Late night is not what it was. It's just not. It's so much of that becomes just bits and things like that. Maybe now Jimmy Kimmel and maybe Fallon, they get to divide the rest of the audience, but I don't watch that. I mean, and I don't think there's a huge audience for it anymore. It has certainly changed. Well, folks, it's Friday. It has been a very, very warm week. And as you know, all part of our effort to make America healthy again. There she is. It's the Queen of Health, Marie. My Health, 99 Mendon Road in Cumberland. Good afternoon, Marie.
Hi, John. How are you today?
Very good, Marie. Take it away. What do you have for us this week?
Well, as you were just talking about how hot it's been, it's so important not only to drink water, but we're losing a lot of electrolytes when we sweat. And I know yesterday, just stepping outside, you just turned into a sweat bucket. So it's you need to keep up. So some things for hydration, add that to your water. Another company makes one. So has all the minerals that you need. Or if you don't like flavored things, this one here, it's just drops. You add it to your water. That can help an awful lot because you need to replenish, the salts that you are sweating out. If you don't, you're not going to feel good and, some bad things can happen. So please make sure, one, to drink water, and two, to have the right hydration, not just water. Even lemon water is helpful because of the elements in the lemon. So that can be good. And also we're out in the sun all the time because you can't really help it. A good sunscreen. You want to make sure that you have a good sunscreen, one that's safe, doesn't have a lot of chemicals in it. And we have a few of those, even some that are specific for the face that you can put on that's not going to be really oily or gritty. And if you get a sunburn, we have some great stuff called Cell Power that really helps to take the burn away. Some really nice after sun balm that you can put on by Badger. And then, of course, there's always aloe. Aloe is nice and soothing, not just for sunburns, but if you burn yourself in the kitchen, it's good to have some aloe around. If you don't have an aloe plant, at least have some aloe gel around. So those are the kinds of things that I'm thinking about today.
Marie, it can be it can be very damaging to the system if people are hurt the organs, if people are consistently dehydrated.
Yeah. Dehydration is behind many, many problems. People with blood pressure issues, specifically, you go back to, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. So it's really important that we drink water. You can't overdo water. You can overdo anything, but making sure that you're drinking enough water and at the right times is really, really important. And that it's not just plain water, but that you are replenishing whatever you're losing through your body functions.
Now, Marie, also on a nice weekend like this or a nice summer, I'll bet there's some nice iced tea that you enjoy.
Oh, so many teas that you can make. I make a really good one that I like. It's actually a good cardiac tonic. It's hibiscus with hawthorn berries and hawthorn leaf. Tastes like cranberry juice. It's just really good, especially nice and cold. So I brew that up in my French press, let it sit overnight, and then I put it in a couple bottles. That gets me a couple days of that, and very refreshing. We have a lot of green teas and flavored green teas too that can be done. And I have people in all the time mixing and matching and making up different kinds of brews, and it's really fun to talk with them about what they're doing.
Marie, I received a nice email from Olivia, and she was inquiring what type of local honey do you carry?
So we carry Betty Mancucci's honey. So she's in Glendale, which is part of Burrillville, very local. She's been a beekeeper for many, many, many years. She took over from her father, who passed away a number of years ago. She's been a beekeeper forever. Her honey is consistent. It's always good. She has hives in many places. So that's the one we carry. And her price is great. I have people come in and they say, "Oh, you should raise your price." I'm like, both Betty and I feel the same way. Let's just make sure people are getting honey and keep it reasonable.
Folks, stop it and see her. She's the queen of health. It's Marie. It's My Health, 1099 Mendon Road in Cumberland. Marie, what are the hours for the rest of today, and what are the hours for Super Saturday tomorrow?
So we'll be here till 5:30 today, and tomorrow from 9 to 4.
And do you mind if people just pop in and say hello and introduce themselves, and maybe they have a question about something?
Not a problem. It happens all the time. And people
Good.
drop by and they finally say, "Oh, I had the time today, so I stopped in," and they may not be looking for anything in particular, but they just want to check things out. We love that. Come and visit. We'd like to meet you.
I love it. She's the queen of health. Marie, keep up the good work. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, John. Take care.
All right, folks. She is just fantastic. By the way, I want to thank, there it is, T. Chandler, supporting the program through Cash App. Folks, there's no shortage of ways to support the program. We continue to grow. I believe in, using the different platforms that I have. And what a lot of our people that follow realize, if you start to be a supporter, people support a lot of different ways. Some people buy merchandise. Some people use Cash App. Some people send on YouTube, send a super chat or a super thank, or on Facebook they send stars. But they value and realize the importance of local independent media. Believe me, I have people in cities all over the country that say, would you consider, would you move here and do this? That would be great with our police. And there's no one in our area that does what you do. I have people in Boston that are saying, you should just do more in the city of Boston. But right now we have such a big part of it is the relationship and access to local law enforcement. That makes a big part of it. And that's, what we bring. But what you should understand, and I think a lot of people get that just by and large, a lot of our local media, they shut down on a Friday. They take the weekend off. They come back on Monday. A lot of things happen on the weekends. And many times, for those of you followed when that woman Linda was missing in Cranston, we started Thursday night. We were outside of the caregiver's house that Friday night. You remember the neighbor came down and was yelling? And then all day Saturday into Saturday night, we were doing nonstop coverage of trying to locate her. And then even on Sunday, until she was ultimately found. So, you know, there's the difference. That is the difference. I'm telling you right now, we are at a pivotal point to me where law enforcement are under attack, and I just don't hear local elected officials defending them. Notice McKee doesn't say a word. Now you have the Providence Chamber of Commerce is silent, as you have these advocates and activists that are saying all businesses need to have these signs. And by the way, I've already heard from a number of businesses, they're going to be pressured. They're going to be pressured to put these signs up. Now think how ridiculous that is. It's hard enough trying to run a business. Now they're going to strong arm them to put up a sign saying that ICE is not welcomed and that criminals can hide inside the business. They're doing it as we speak. They're going to be going out all over Broad Street, all over Olneyville, all over Silver Lake. I know, I'm hearing from the businesses asking me what I should do. And what do I say? I say, don't put up that stupid sign. Folks, this portion of our program brought to you by J. Perry Paving. Free estimate any project if you've been thinking you have of getting your driveway paved. And especially, remember, they have a great package for veterans. It's J. Perry Paving, 401-732-1730. 401-732-1730. They have a great package for veterans. So what do I mean? Maybe your dad is a veteran. Maybe your mom. Maybe your son, daughter, grandmother, whoever. Call J. Perry Paving, letter J, 401-732-1730. They have a special package for veterans, and perhaps, maybe, get a free estimate. Find out right now. Maybe you realize you need your driveway paved, or maybe your son who's a veteran needs his driveway paved. Why not find out how much we're talking about? Get a free estimate. Letter J, J. Perry Paving. And maybe if you're thinking getting yours done, maybe your next door neighbor or someone on your street's going to get it done. You get a better deal that way. 401-732-1730 for J. Perry Paving. My point is, they're going to start to pressure these businesses to put up these signs. And I don't hear any elected officials. I don't even say the word elected leaders. No one is speaking out about it. No one is condemning it. Where are we going with this? Certain businesses are going to be, oh, we're a police-free zone. Police are not allowed to come in here. We harbor criminals. No one is speaking out. Lori White and the Providence Chamber of Commerce, totally silent as these businesses are getting strong-armed by these criminals, gang members, and thugs, pressuring them to put up these signs. I'm telling you, we're going to go around and we're going to be filming it. Folks, if you're listening to the radio, thank you. Stay tuned for the 2 o'clock news. Everyone else, we'll see you tonight after 7. We'll be riding with the Westerly Police on Road Patrol Live.